Hi everyone. I am working in my large Dylusions journal, and I'm just intuitively kind of putting together a 2-page spread here. So I started just by putting gesso down on these 2 pages, and it's dry. And I have some pieces of telephone book pages that I just colored with some watered down acrylic. I may have used some spray, so I'm hoping that if that's the blue that's on there, that it doesn't lift the color, but if it does, that's okay. So I'm going to start just by putting that down with some matte medium. And I have some paint that came through from the other side when I was working on a previous page, so I'm just going to kind of concentrate on covering that up a little bit here along the edges with some of these. The paper's fairly thin. Then I had a it's an old flashcard, arithmetic flashcard, and I just cut a couple of the numbers off, and I thought, well, I'll put those on there, see where that ends up. I have a new stamp that I'm thinking I want to use. We'll see when it's time to use that, if that's what I still want to use. So you can see some of the color is coming off of that paper, and that's been hanging around for a long time, so obviously that was probably a distress oxide spray, because that will continue to, the color will continue to move if it gets wet. It never is really completely waterproof. But now that it's under the matte medium, it should move less. And we'll get paint on it anyways, and probably some more gesso at some point, so all good. I'm going to use some heavy gel on those numbers because the paper's pretty thick. So that way I know it'll stay stuck. And it's cloudy, but it will dry clear. Okay, and that's it for the collage layer. And I'm just going to dry that off real good. That's pretty dry. For the most part, dry enough to go on though. Trying to keep this in frame for you. I moved my camera back down. It was up higher from the other day. I am going to start with some raw sienna and just put some on my mat. And then I have Paynes Grey. These are both Liquitex Basics paints. I'm just going to water that down and just get some paint down. Lots of brush strokes. I don't want to completely go over those telephone book pages. And then I thought maybe we'll pull some of that off through this stencil. paper towel. No, actually, I'm going to get a baby wipe. Not really readable. Probably should have let the paint set up a little bit longer, but that's okay. It's just one more layer here. Got a little texture in there anyway. Let me get rid of that hard edge while I still can. Yeah, I like that. There's not really enough. Well, maybe. Let's see if there's enough on the back of here to transfer that. I don't know that there is. No, just a little bit. Let's turn this way. Yeah, nothing to write home about. So I'm just going to do the same thing over here. And dry that off. Okay, I have this Tim Holtz ruler stencil. It's a layering stencil called Measured Layering Stencil. So I'm just going to do a little bit here and there, and I'm going to use a blending tool to put the paint on with. And I'm going to go into the Paynes Grey on my mat. You probably can't see it, but I'm dipping it in and then going around in a circle to get it into the blending tool. And I just kind of want it like that, just very light in places, dark in others. I like the control that you get with the blending tool through the stencil. It's better than stencil brushes or makeup sponges or anything else that I've used. And maybe just a tiny bit up here. There, whoops. Do I line that back up again? Just kind of light right here. Some on there and some on here. Just kind of like it's in the background. Oops, I'm not even seeing that. And there we go. I like that. Put my stencils aside. Now with the blending tool, these sponge ones, you can just take them to the sink and wash them with soap and water and use them over and over and over and over again. So that's not a waste. Then what do I want to do? I think I want some drips on here. Actually, before I do that, I think I'm going to bought this new stamp called Observations, and I want to get this guy's face on here. No worries, I guess. And this is the Archival Distress Ink in Black Soot. So that will be permanent. Where do we want to put him? I think I want him here. Always iffy in a journal because there's stuff on the other pages that make this one not real flat. That's as good as it's going to get. I wipe that off right away. This has the gears and then some sentiments and the man. So that is Observations, brand new from Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. Okay, now that that's on there, we'll get some drips going. Here I'm going to go real watery with the Paynes Grey in my brush. Lots of water. I get my rag ready here. So I'm going to tip this up some. Okay, I like that. I was going to spray it, but I think I won't. I think I'm going to leave it just like that and let it dry like that. So it pretty much stays that way. I'm going to chase it around with the hairdryer, with the heat tool. Okay, now I have no clue where I'm going next. I pulled this stencil out too. I think maybe, probably should have done this before, but I think I'm going to maybe put some Crackle paste through here, over on this side maybe, or maybe right across here. Excuse my reach. I have a Distress Texture Paste Crackle. And I need a I'm just going to use a palette knife here. And sometimes this stencil works good with this, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just gets too smushed underneath, and maybe I push too hard, which is entirely possible. Just one more layer. Okay, and then I'm going to take this stencil right to the sink and I'll be back. So I'm going to dry this with the heat tool. Some Crackle pastes don't like to be dried with the heat tool. This one I found works okay. So I'm going to take my sponge and go into the paint that I watered down for that, and just go over this and pick up those crackles. Okay, I'm not crazy about that. I wish I had just put it off to the side or something. I think what I'm going to do, even though you can see these crackles right here really good, I'm going to put another piece or two of the paper down on top of it because I don't like the way it pulled that yellow up. So let me find it. You can still see it, but not as much. I'm going to go over it with just kind of starting over, recreating the background on top of this paper. Like it was there all along. Except you can just kind of make out the little bit of script underneath it. Okay, let's get that dry. Okay, I'm going to use this gear stamp that is from that same set. I'm going to use the Ground Espresso Archival Distress ink. And just kind of fill in with some gears here and there. Let's go this way. Oh, I like that a lot. I like this saying. It says, being lost is worth being found. I like that. I'm going to stamp that under my man. Kind of got lost right there. It went on top of where he was stamped. I didn't realize I had it up that high. That's okay. Okay, I am back. Next day. I just wasn't real sure what I wanted to do on this side. And then I remembered these tags that I did. This is that Tim Holtz eroded metal finish that I did with the salvage patina in bronze. There's a video of this. Actually, there's two, and they look really good in here, color-wise and everything, so I think I'm just going to put those down right there. I like them there. So I'm going to do that with some super heavy gel. And think I will grab my Stabilo and go around the edges. This for a cast shadow effect. Need a smaller brush. I'm just going to use the gel medium to move that out. And that way that will be permanent when it dries, rather than if I use it with water. If I move it with water, it's going to stay water soluble if something else wet gets on it. So I usually try to just move it with a little bit of matte medium, or in this case I have the gel out. It's basically the same thing, just thicker. I think I'm going to just maybe do a partial. Maybe I'll do two more different sizes of him showing. So let's see what happens going over that crease in the middle of the book. Yeah, that's okay. And then one that's just not quite that much of him, and just his top of his head here. Right here. I really should have put something underneath this page that was firmer. Oh, that one worked good. This one not so much. So he's a ghost print. That's okay. I don't mind. And I will dry those too. And I think that's going to be it. Yep. I think that will do for this page. I like it. So check out the stills at the end. Stick around for those. And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it out to somebody who also you think might like it. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more process videos and tutorials on mixed media. And in the meantime, go make some art. Bye.